let's go there. We got that done. Let's, I think, close this out. Let's go here and open up this. We got about just over a minute here. And we're going to have a good time tonight. It's Ghosts and Woo all night long. And Kitsie Duncan is our guest. We're going to learn all about her. All about her. I'll guarantee you she is in her pajamas tonight because it's Friday night. I'm in mine. I'll be honest with you. I'm totally in mine. Totally in mine.
I almost did.
No.
Almost.
I am so in my pajamas right now, just to be blunt. Van Gogh, welcome to our channel. Stirs Nevitt, good to see you. Lord of Land, thank you for joining us. Awesome Annie Svensson will be signing autographs after the show as well. Remember, a great way to support what we do is we open up the thing that we call the Super Chat here. And give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. And if you're brand new, please hit that subscribe button. We're literally less than 100 away from 11,000 subscribers. We want to get there soon, and you can help by hitting that subscribe button. So let's have a good time tonight. Hi, Ronnie. How are you in Spreaker? And we're going to get going here in about 10 seconds. You guys are going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good time. Kitsie Duncan is going to have a good time. Let's rock and roll. Horns up. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Oh, we're going to have a fun night tonight. Kitsie Duncan calls herself a late bloomer to the world of the paranormal, and she's making up for lost time. Yes, she will wrestle any ghost possible. All you got to do is let her loose. Let her loose. Some may say she's a people person, but she'd honestly rather talk to dead people. Losing her father suddenly set her on the fast track to find out what's going on beyond this earthly plane. Kitsie has investigated some of the most notoriously haunted locations in the world and has got stories from the souls roaming these locations beyond the lore and the legends told on a daily basis. She's got a new book out. We'll get her to talk about that as well. And then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Kitsie Duncan, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you, my friend?
I am ridiculously happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, we're glad to have you here. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we all have a story. We all have a reason why we are looking into this field. And for me, it was personal experiences. For many others, it's just plain curiosity because they saw something on a TV show that captivated your attention. But for you, it was the loss of your dad.
Yeah, it was. I grew up terrified of the paranormal. I actually grew up in, every neighborhood has that haunted house. Well, that was my house. But thank goodness my mother told me that I had an overactive imagination, so I was able to just pull the covers over my head and ignore it. And I mean, even through my 20s and, the early part of my 30s, I was still terrified of it. I didn't watch horror movies, and everybody's trying to get me to watch all these cable ghost hunting shows. And I'm like, you guys are nuts. This stuff's ridiculous. And then I lost my dad. He was 52 years old, died of a massive heart attack. There were no goodbyes, and it stung. You know what I'm saying? So we moved away from where the family was, and we're in this new house. I'm actually still in the same house, but the one thing I wanted when my dad died was the chair he died in. So I took it with me. I just realized that might have had something to do with this next part of my story. But I felt his presence. It just felt like Dad was with me, and it didn't feel scary for the first time. And I just really wanted to know he was okay. I wanted to know there was more. I wanted to know he wasn't just lying in a box somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, I think just hearing that in your voice, I think we all just kind of have a few shivers down our spines, wishing you a lot of love and energy of positivity in going through that. For you, why did this become a personal quest? Were you close with your father?
I was. He was actually my stepfather, but he raised me from the age of 10 years old on. He was just a magical man. He took me in as though I was his own, and taught me a sense of humor, taught me how to deal with, life's little ups and downs. So he was just an amazing man. And so once I started getting these vibes, I turned on the cable ghost shows, and I'm like, okay, I saw a commercial for this one show where the guys just yelled at the ghosts the entire time. And I'm like, well, if it gets scary, maybe that's what you have to do. So I started watching Ghost Lab back in the day. And I'm like, okay, nobody's dying. Nobody's being maimed or harmed in any way. It's just a lot of electrical equipment flashing and beeping and all that. So I was like, okay, that's not so bad. So I started on the Ghost Adventures, and I worked my way through all of them. And then I met a paranormal group, and they invited me on an investigation. And I walked into the location, it's nerves for weeks before I went, because I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one person who dies by ghost haunting. It's going to be me. But I got in the place that was, notoriously haunted, and I felt at home. I really liked it. I liked the energy. I liked the vibrations of the building. It was the people I was investigating with that weren't my kind of people. One of the gentlemen screamed up the stairs of this haunted location. It's supposed to be a little girl that was haunting the place. Yells up the stairs. He goes, "Come at me, bro!" And I'm like,
Oh no! Let me guess. He had his straight brimmed hat tilted to the side too, didn't he? Be honest.
Maybe.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I can totally see that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And I went on a couple other investigations with that crew, and I did learn from them. Don't get me wrong. I just think that's a hilarious story, and it taught me how I didn't want to investigate. And then I just branched out on my own. Got some cameras, threw some stuff up on YouTube, and people liked it.
Isn't that always funny how it works? Because, for a lot of people, they struggle. They want to be someone in this field. And I don't think that was really your goal, but it's kind of turning out that way because I think people see the honesty and integrity with how you were treating the paranormal. You're not playing any games. You're not playing Weekend Warrior. You're not wearing your team shirts, running into locations, I mean, I don't know why that makes me laugh all the time, the team shirts, but it really, really, you know what it reminds me of, to be absolutely honest? It reminds me of those families who all wear the same tracksuit to go to the park. Oh, yeah. Or the husband and wife Facebook page or Instagram page. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know. Yes. Yes.
Or, the whole family at Disney World, everybody's wearing the same shirt.
Right.
In like neon orange. Yeah. So that's not what I do at all. And yeah.
So you and your husband do not have matching tracksuits. You're going on record with that.
No. And if I were to ever even try to talk him into it, he'd look at me like I was insane. Well, I mean, he does on the regular, but even more insane.
All right. So when you started getting into the paranormal field a little bit more, what did you think of the field? I mean, there's a lot of eclectic people in it.
I'm going to be honest. After that first experience, I kind of keep to myself. I really do. Um, I'm anti-drama. And when I first started getting into this, I realized there was a lot of drama out there. So I just kind of, I investigated with my friends for years. Sometimes there'd be, three of us. Sometimes there'd be 15 of us. And we'd just go in and I just wanted to see what kind of evidence would come across. I wasn't even, would I be excited if I got a ghost on camera? Oh, yeah. But I just wanted to go and I just wanted to see if this was real and that I'm not insane like my husband thinks I am.
Why does she think you're insane? Or does he think you're insane?
He does. And because I am.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, all women are to some extent. I mean, everybody is to some extent, not just women.
We all have our quirks.
Yeah.
Look at me.
For sure.
I run a radio show 5 nights a week about the woo. I mean, how stupid do I have to be in order to do that?
Well, I mean, I'm obsessed with the woo. So maybe that's why he thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah, maybe. Kitsie, I want to ask you, as you started to kind of delve into the paranormal field, and you mentioned there's a lot of drama in here, and I'll be honest with you, we don't do a lot of paranormal shows here. Like, we are very specific with the paranormal people that come on in here. The main reason why is because there's two reasons. Number one, the minute I have somebody on this show who claims that they're a ghost hunter and conducting anything scientific, and they haven't done anything scientific since probably high school, I know they're full of it. I know they're full of it right there. Number two is the fact that you have all these people out there, and they're all proud of collecting their evidence. And then you ask them, what do you do with your evidence? And they can't answer that question. How do you do anything without being able to answer a question? I don't know.
Yeah. I just threw my evidence up on YouTube. So at that point in time, and hope somebody else would understand how excited I was when I got that evidence, and hopefully exciting some people as well. So but I mean, how do you not do anything with your evidence?
I swear on my children's lives, okay? Do me a favor, because you have a podcast too, okay? Yeah. When you are interviewing ghost hunters, it doesn't matter what, I'm not saying the bigger names, okay? Because they always have a quest. Whether it's our mutual friend Dustin Perry, whether it's David Weatherly, Ross Allison, okay? Those people are searching for answers. But the majority of the weekend warriors out there, who have the acronym of, something to do with spirit or ghost or death or whatever, because they're all out there. Do yourself a favor and conduct yourself a very non-scientific study and ask them right at the end, what do you do with your evidence? They'll say, well, we collect it. Well, what do you do afterwards with it? We put it away. Some will say they even throw it away. Then you say, well, what are you planning on doing with that evidence? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
I don't even understand that train of thought.
Do yourself a favor. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay.
It really is. I mean, not that you're trying to put anybody down or embarrass anybody, but I mean, if you're in this field, you're not a ghost hunter. You're an enthusiast, if that's what you're doing. You're out there for the spookiness. Yeah. Right? And I think there's a big difference in what we should be doing compared to what we are doing. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I've done a 180 from how I began investigating the paranormal or researching the paranormal or whatever phrase is okay to say with you.
Just don't use the word squatch and we'll be okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, we're good at it. Anything outside of that, we're good.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's collecting evidence. If you go to these places where everybody else has been, and you keep getting the same evidence that everybody else has gotten, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I've been to some of the places that, have been on all the big TV shows and claim that, it's, riddled with demons in a well in the basement, and I didn't come across a single demon. I'm just saying. I went into all of these notoriously haunted locations trying to find out who had a story to tell me because I wanted to tell that story for them. You know what? It wasn't even about the evidence anymore. It was about them telling their story. And by them, I mean the spirits. And it's kind of beautiful and kind of magical when you can get a spirit to start communicating with you at the beginning of the investigation, and they continue to communicate with you the entire night you're there. I mean, sometimes they follow me home when that happens, but I'm cool with that.
Who doesn't have a few ghosts?
I know.
I mean, if you don't have aliens or ghosts, what are you really accomplishing in life?
Yeah, I don't want aliens. Those are really scary.
Oh, I'm sure you got some aliens, just you haven't found them yet. I'm just saying, but that's just me. Kitsie Duncan is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Kitsie, when you go to investigation, I think you bring up a very good point. A lot of people want to go to all of these famous locations that they see on television or have read in books or what have you. I'm someone who I don't want to see those places. I want to see the small rural town that has this, 200-year-old legend of ghosts running around the forest and kidnapping children back in like 1842 or something like that. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to investigate. Those legends and lore. How do you think, I realize the popularity of a lot of these locations, and that's great for paranormal tourism. For some places, it's a good income for them to keep the lights on or the doors open or the ghosts active, and I agree with that. But for you being a paranormal investigator, what's more important to you, going to these real public locations and popular locations, or finding that little hidden gem that nobody knows about?
I honestly did enjoy both. I really did. There were a couple of museums we had gotten into over the years that had never really been investigated. And sometimes the evidence is super surprising because, here's a question I have for you, understanding the paranormal. Do you think spirits have to learn how to use this equipment? Or do you think they just kind of know?
You know what? I'm going to answer that in this way. Because I had an investigation a number of years ago, and I'm not a ghost hunter, so I'm going to take myself up. But I do like to go, every now and again. I have no problem with that. And we were walking along, about 3/4 of a mile behind me, the original Gold Rush Trail that leads to Alaska and the Klondike for the Gold Rush is right behind me. And there were 9 of us on an investigation, and this is going back to 2018, the fall of 2018. And we started communicating with a Chinese husband and wife. So the Chinese during the Gold Rush were extremely prominent here. They set up communities. They literally helped build the province of British Columbia in certain areas, which it's been fantastic. So when we were talking to them, we noticed that after we said goodbye, and there were 9 of us, and it wasn't like a big time investigation. It was more of a tour. We had 9 K2 meters. Okay, 8 or 9 of us, and there was 8 or 9 K2 meters. And we were standing there, and we said goodbye, and they said goodbye through the K2s. And as we're standing there, the K2 meters for all of us are still going off. And we can't and we can't figure out why. So I start walking down the trail as kind of the leader of this group. I start walking down the trail away from the group, and my K2 keeps going off and off and off. And then I get to a certain point about 20 feet away, and it goes off. And then I go back, and it turned back on. And so I started thinking, husband, wife, 1800s Gold Rush Trail. There's a horse and buggy here.
Oh.
So I told everybody to let's spread it off the trail. And sure enough, we had 4 on one side, 4 on the other, or 5 on the other. And as those people passed down the trail and the buggy and the horse passed down the trail, you could see all the K2 meters turn off as they passed.
That's
so
amazing.
So my theory on it, and this is where my theory has changed. I don't know whether we are on, or we are the ghosts on their timeline, or they're the ghosts on our timeline. Because science, if you look into it, and I'm not a scientist by any means, but many scientists claim there are parallel dimensions that are happening at the same time. So could that have been one of those parallel dimensions that we happened to run into that night?
You know, we did an investigation at one point. It was the opera house that had never been investigated before, and I didn't realize it while the investigation was going on. But as I was, reviewing evidence, turning it into an episode of Oddity Files, I realized that their responses to us, I think they were actually investigating us as well.
No way. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
We got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes before we go to break. Tell me this story.
So we were sitting in the theater of this beautifully restored old opera house. It had been through, all its different stages. It was the town jail. It was the town fire department. It was all these different things. But originally it was the Mitchell Opera House, and it had just been restored gloriously. And they let us in to investigate because they had some mediums there say that there were spirits there. And before we even set up equipment, my son, who's one of my fellow investigators on the Oddity Files crew, his name's Carter, sees a spirit run by the back of the seating area. Sorry, brain fart. And this is the first time he's ever seen a spirit. I didn't see it. Our other investigator, Clayton Abbott, he didn't see it either. But at one point I was looking at the area and he saw it happen again, which is fine. I believe some people are on certain wavelengths and they see spirits when other people are looking in the same direction and the other people don't see it. That's a whole other theory I can get into later. But when we opened up the Odd Box, which is a big amplifier that I hook up either a Spirit Box to or Spirit Box style apps. The Portal Plus app is one of my favorites. At one point, we were capturing a stick figure on the SLS camera, or like my friends like to call it, the stick figure camera. And all of a sudden, you hear a child's voice come over and goes, "Ooh, it's spooky." I'm like, okay. And later on, we were asking for somebody's name, and it said Dave, and then it said David, and then it goes, "Can you hear me?" And it was just things that we would normally say to the spirits when we're trying to communicate. They asked if we could see them. It was just mind-blowing. And I'm so upset at the time I didn't realize, putting all these pieces together, that that's what was going on at the time, because I would have had a whole other line of questioning for these people.
It really is. It catches you off guard when something like that happens, because you're expecting one thing. Next thing you know, you're the one being interviewed and interrogated here.
Yeah. Yeah. They're asking if we can see them. They're saying that they can see us. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. But in a place that's not investigated 7 days a week or every weekend, or like a lot of these places are, I think you may have I run into that again? No, I would absolutely love to. But it was actually it just brought everything to a whole different level for me.
Kitsie Duncan is our guest tonight. We're talking ghosts all night long, paranormal talk, and so much more. We're going to have a great time with Kitsie. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. That was fun.
Yeah.
Quick, eh?
For sure.
Quick.
I know, so fast.
So our YouTube channel and our Spreaker channel can hear us right now, even though we are on commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's what we do. Don't tell anybody. There's a question for you.
So, yeah.
What's your opinion of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
I would eat breakfast foods for every meal if I could. No?
Terrible. Terrible.
Is that the wrong answer?
Corrins, where the hell do you find these people? All right. We'll let it go.
I love breakfast.
Yeah.
I love eggs.
As Howard says, next guest. That's right, Howard. That's right, buddy. Devil's Tower. Remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
It scarred me for life. Of course I do.
Devil's Tower. You know what that is then.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on Team Stump or are you on Team Rock?
Oh. I'm going to have to give that some thought. I've never been asked that question before.
Well, that's a powerful question. That's why we bring outstanding journalism to this show.
Yeah. You're going to make my brain hurt here in a minute. Is what you're going to do. I don't know. There would be more stumps if it was a stump, though. Can't be the only stump. I'm going to go rock. I'm sorry. There would be more stumps, Dave. There would be more
I have a
stumps.
stump like 20 minutes away from me.
Oh, do you?
No, I don't know.
Well, see, you should have opened with that.
All right. So we got a great comment here from, where is it here? Paul Schreier. During commercial, what a waste of airtime. Thank you, my friend. It's because we are not a podcast. Okay, we are a live radio show, and we are on commercial break during the radio show, so you get to hear the back end of it. So that's kind of the reason why we are at this. I really don't mind, because I don't mind explaining it to people. Once they know, it's all cool. So, that's what we're doing here, man. That's what we're doing here. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you for taking the time to tune us on in, man. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. We have 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
2.5 minutes.
I mean, it could definitely be a stump if there's more stumps.
Look, you can't. You've already just ruined that one. You know, like you took the wind out of the sails, and
well, I kept saying it's the only stump. You didn't tell me that there were more stumps.
Yeah, well, it's over. You know. I thought we had this thing going here, but apparently
we do.
I don't know.
We do.
I don't know.
Blame it on lack of sleep.
I remember when I had Dustin Perry on this show. One of my favorite questions I asked him was, I said, dude, what was with the visor upside down, back and backwards? He goes,
did he have an answer?
He's like, dude, I don't know. It was a phase. I don't know. Hi, 11. How are you? Welcome to the chat room. All right. Troy wants to know your opinion. Would you choose In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys?
I like Five Guys a lot. I have Five Guys here. I don't have an In-N-Out.
Yeah, I don't think there's any loss either way on that one. But I would choose Five Guys over In-N-Out.
Yeah, I like a greasy burger.
Oh yeah. I had a sausage breakfast sandwich on an English muffin from Tim Hortons this morning for breakfast. I took it out of the package, and it was pure grease, and I thought, oh, this is such an artery killer, but, this is worth it. If I got to go out this way, I'm so going out this way.
What a way to start the day.
Oh, yeah. Wagon Breath, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you here. Beautiful Wagon Breath. All right, we have 25 seconds before we're going to go. Then I will reintroduce you. John Swan, what's happening, man? I'm more team broken marriage mashed potatoes. Hey, Dazzling Dolly, how are you? You're looking good tonight. All right, Super Chat is open. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. And we got just under 100 people, 99 people. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Paranormal enthusiast, researcher, author, YouTube star, gorgeous-haired lady, Kitsie Duncan is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. She's got a brand new book out, came out this past November, called I'd Rather Talk to Dead People, My Journey as a Paranormal Researcher, and you can find it on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. It's only like $14. $14. It's worth it. Kitsie, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, let's learn about this book. I'd Rather Talk to Dead People. What, you don't like us living or what?
I side on the Bigfoot side of things, and if I could hide away where I didn't have to deal with people like I've been doing for the last year, I would do that all the time. People get I am an empath too, so it's very stressful sometimes for me being around a lot of people. I've gotten over it because my day job is working at, Comic-Con conventions. So, I mean, it doesn't get more crowded than that. But I just like quiet. I like peace and quiet. And I've actually really been enjoying quarantining for the last year.
It's been heaven. It really. I quarantined the year before.
Sweet.
And I've quarantined a lot this year. I think one of my biggest things that I found out about myself, because I'm very insecure. I know it doesn't seem like that with the radio show or everything, but in my personal life, I'm actually very insecure. And becoming a complete introvert has totally, totally made me a happy man. Totally.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, like I said earlier, I'm no time in my life for drama. When I'm in my house and it's me and my husband and my 2 dogs, there is no drama going on here. So I'm kind of enjoying it.
Does it really have to end? If they could just open up Vegas, I would be okay. Just Vegas. That's all I need. All I need. Open up the border to Vegas and we're good. We're good. But for you, writing this book, why was it important to you to get your own personal thoughts and testimony on paper?
Well, first of all, I was just asked if I wanted to write a book. Dave Schrader, who's one of my dearest friends.
We love him.
Cannot get enough of that man. He's like, hey, Kitsie, ever think of writing a book? I don't know why he has a New York accent. He's from Minnesota. But, and I was like, well, kind of. That's kind of what I wanted to do when I was younger, And he's like, well, let me get you in touch with Beyond the Fray Publishing. And we had a little conference call, and I'm like, you know what? It's the middle of a pandemic. I'm spending a lot of time in my camper or at my house. So if I can do it, this is going to be the time I should give it a shot. So I did. And it was very eye-opening to me. If you actually sit down and go back over, all of your investigations. If you're an investigator like myself, you realize things kind of like the opera house and things like that. And I realized that these spirits tell me their stories. So it was really neat to be able to tell their stories in a book as well, not only on the Oddity Files TV show that I don't think is on Prime in Canada, but we do have a YouTube channel with all 3 seasons on it. It's just Oddity Files Crew. So that's what the book is based on. Some of my most prolific investigations, from I get really in depth into 2 investigations, being Culbertson Mansion here in Indiana and Bobby Mackey's, where I didn't find a single demon. But I kind of hit on some other investigations that were really important to me and showed me that you need to treat these spirits like you want to be treated. Going back to the whole, I'd rather stay at home because people are awful out there. You need to we need to, as a society, start treating everybody better. But the ghosts specifically need to be treated better. And when you treat them like they're the human being they were, they give you everything, for lack of a better term. They really do. It's showing them empathy. It's actually listening when they speak. If you walk into a place and they say, "Oh, somebody's been thrown across the room here, and this ghost hates women." One specific investigation I took it as a challenge. I'm not going to lie. And I went into that room and I'm like, "Okay, guys, what's your problem?" Just like I would to somebody who's living and breathing. And nothing. Didn't get anything I said, "What, did your wife cheat on you?" And he goes, "Yep." And then he called me a slut. Because that was what he called the women.
Oh, isn't that right? Isn't that nice?
I said, "You know what? Why don't you tell the world what your slut wife's name was?" And he immediately comes over with Penny, and that was it. He was actually wonderful and complimentary to me the entire night after that.
Oh, because you were on his side. You were on his side.
Yeah, maybe.
That's probably, every man would take that. If you called my ex, or not, I shouldn't say that, but if I was a ghost and you called my ex slut wife, I would totally be on your team. I would totally be on your team. Just not,
and it's
not
getting on their
right
level.
Now.
It really is.
Yes. Okay, so when you're getting into this book and you're trying to put all of your thoughts together, all of the investigations you've had, we always want to try and make it personal and how you feel. Did you try and express your feelings through it, or were you trying to be, this is what we found, this is what it was all about, and be very, lack of a better term, scientific about it?
Oh, no. It was all about what I was feeling, what I was going through at the time, what I was thinking at the time. Because it's not always quote unquote scientific evidence that you get. You walk into the room and you feel that presence. There's nothing scientific about there, but it's what you feel and what your fellow investigators are feeling. You walk into a room and you feel sad. How can you gauge that on any of the equipment available out there? You can't, but it's really important in these investigations because when you're questioning the spirits, it'll lean your questioning one way or another. Now, when I walked into that room with the guy, with the wife, it was just known for being a terrible, terrible room. But I walked in and I didn't feel that. And I think sometimes the stories told about these places to the investigators walking in sets their mood, sets their tone. And that's what they're looking for. So no matter what evidence they get, they're going to take it that way. I think people just need a little bit more of an open mind, a little bit more empathy, not even empathness, but empathy for the situation. You don't want somebody walking into your house and yelling at you to answer your questions. I'd push him down the stairs. I'd scratch him. I'd yell into a recorder, "Get out." So I think people just need to kind of switch and do a reverse on their mindset when they go into these places.
But the problem is there's too many paranormal investigators, Kitsie, who want that story. They want to be pushed down the stairs. They want to be scratched. They want to be strangled or punched or kicked or pinched. They want objects thrown at them because in their worlds, and I've seen it on this show, and I've seen it just online. That's the first thing people say. Well, what happened to you at such and such museum? Oh man, I got, a vase thrown at my head and it went smashing. You know what I'm saying? Like people always want that story because it puts them in their mind a little bit more up on the pedestal. Well, I experienced this, and that's the way, I think that a lot of the paranormal people are. They aren't looking at the idea, like you just said, have a conversation with an ex-human being, if that's what it is, and see where politeness actually can go. That's rare.
And we get so much feedback saying, I love the way that you guys investigate. It's different from most of the other people out there. We literally walk into a location and I say out loud to whatever or whoever may be listening, we're not here to hurt you, harm you. We don't want to take you away. We specifically don't want to take you away. We're here out of love, light, peace, and positivity, and we expect the same from you. I tell them, we're just here to tell your story. I even say out loud, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to scream at you. I just want to have a conversation. I don't know. I don't understand the whole, well, this happened to me, so this makes me really cool. I don't know. It's why even do it at that point?
Popularity singles you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get that because I don't care what people think about me.
Well, no, I understand that, and I can completely appreciate that. But there's a large segment out there, especially on social media, who's very proud. They want to harass the spirits. They want to provoke. They've seen it done on Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or whatever. They want that spooky factor of yelling at these ghosts and getting that reaction because to them, it's all part of the game, and that's what this is. It's a game. I don't think you take it as a game, though.
No, these were real people at one point with feelings just like we have feelings. If you yell at them, I guess I just don't understand. If I were a spirit and somebody was trying all that stuff, I'd just walk out and go away. I wouldn't give them what they wanted. I don't know. That's just me as a person, though. I don't know. I guess that's why I don't really talk to people outside my little circle in the paranormal world, to be perfectly honest.
Well, for a good friend...
they can do what I wish they wouldn't, because now I feel bad for every single spirit that has to deal with that on the regular basis. I thought it was just the Ghost Adventures guys that did that.
Have you ever been attacked by a spirit?
No.
You're lucky. It's not fun.
No.
It's not
I've
fun.
had my booty grabbed. I've had my hair pulled. But that's it.
We have a museum up here where, pre-COVID, I would do a tour there in order to raise money for the museum because it's a nonprofit museum, and we'd raise almost $5,000 a year doing ghost tours for it. And I loved it. But we have this one cranky spirit up there. He got so pissed off that we captured him on photograph twice that he started attacking. And he didn't like people going up in his area of this 110-year-old barn. And he attacked me. He attacked one of my tour guides who had to leave the tour because of it. He attacked Ross Allison and David Weatherly when they were up here. And it was nasty. It was nasty there. And we finally calmed him down. We had to make some rules because everything is negotiation. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we finally were able to calm him down where we weren't allowed to photograph him. That was the big one. Number two, we weren't allowed to go up on the catwalk in his area. We closed that off. And number three, before every tour, we brought him a cigarette and a shot of whiskey.
I like this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's been fine with us. And you know what? Because there were times when we always played by the rules, and there were times where we would say, "Hey, do you mind if we come up?" And all of a sudden it would be like you could just get that feeling like, "Yeah,
Oh yeah.
come on up. Let's hang out." Right? Let's hang out. So, I mean, it is a matter of respect for the spirits that are there. Why do you take that angle compared to the more popular ways of what we see on TV? You're kind of the opposite.
I don't, it's just me. It's just who I am. I didn't go into this knowing what angle I was going to use. I just went in and was myself and being myself and showing these spirits respect. And it's not always respect. Sometimes I have to pull out the mommy voice. And sometimes when I do that, things calm down a little bit. And it's like, I sound like a broken record, but you have to treat them like you would a person, just like you did with this grouchy old man. If somebody's grouchy in life, they're going to be grouchy in death as well. So I don't know. There was no plan. It's just what worked for me. It's just who I am, and people dig it. So my new approach on the paranormal right now is just kind of leaning that way. I want to help people that are scared of the paranormal like I was for so much of my life. I want to help people that are grieving and maybe possibly bringing a loved one through that was hanging around and they thought it was, Joe Schmo demon from 1820, but it was really grandma just trying to reach out and tell them that they were watching over them. I mean, if you don't understand it as a human race, if you don't understand something, we're usually terrified of it.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been scared though?
It's been a hot minute since I've, almost wanted to cry. It's been a long time, but that was when I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand that the spirit was trying to communicate with me. I thought he was trying to kill me. So, and now I know that's not a thing. I did.
Well, you got to tell us. You got to tell us this story.
So it was like one of my very first investigations on my own, away from the other paranormal team, and it was a jail. And I had my husband with me. A girlfriend of mine and her husband. My husband's 6'4" and her husband's 6'8", and they were getting really weird vibes in the place as well. Come to find out, it's just all jails feel like that when you walk in. This one was specifically, it had been shut down over the winter, and we were like one of the first groups back. So I felt like their energy level as the spirits was much higher than it would normally be. And we were in a wing where there was a gentleman who was known as James Fur Sampson. Fur was his nickname because of the way he liked his ladies to trim certain areas on their body. He was Al Capone's hitman and a rapist at the age of 13. So, real swell guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
So I was
nice
terrified.
Guy.
Yeah, terrified off the bat. And we're having K2 conversation with him, and he was trying to single me out of the group. He was trying to get me away. And it's not like he was trying to take me to another room. And I hadn't had many experiences at that point that were really definite that this was absolutely positively paranormal activity. So I didn't want to be separated from the group, and I was scared. And my, 6'8" and my 6'4" personal bodyguards were in the room where I was at. Anyhow, so I finally go. The boys finally talk to me. They're like, "What are you so scared of? He can't do anything to you." So I go. And I'm standing there in the day room. So it's just a large cell with a huge picnic table in it. And I'm in the hallway outside where the guards would be able to walk up and down the cell block. And I'm answering the questions. I'm like counting down in my head because I told him I'd be out there for 10 seconds. And then he whispers something in my ear. I literally cried and ran back into the cell with everybody else. But that's the first time I had ever heard a disembodied voice other than, watching it on TV at that point. So it was new and I didn't understand it and I was scared. By the end of the night, there may have been some flirting with me and my tight little booty jeans going on. And I told him that I wore them for the prisoners and because, that was smart. He did grab my ass. And finally, as we were leaving, he told me in a roundabout way, when you put the evidence together, he was saying that I reminded him of somebody that he knew. And he just wanted to be around me, which was really beautiful if you think about it. This awful, terrible man. I don't know who Harriet was, if it was a sister, if it was a mother, if it was an ex-girlfriend or what, but I reminded him of Harriet. So, and writing this book was so good for me to just especially revisit that story and see that he was just trying to communicate. He wasn't trying to hurt me. He just wanted to communicate.
There's a little bit of a romanticism involved with that, not on a sexual level or anything like that, but a romanticism that you were seeing him as the human that he was. Well, not as the person he was, but the spirit that maybe had changed.
Right. Exactly. And it was beautiful, actually, revisiting that and putting it all into the Word document that I was working on. I was like, that was actually a turning point for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but when he came through and let me know pretty much everything was okay, that he just liked me because I reminded him of someone, it was a turning point for me.
That makes very much sense. Kitsie Duncan is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have 2.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. And after the hour, we'll start taking audience questions if they have any in our chat rooms. Kitsie, with this experience that you had, how did it change your thinking as a paranormal investigator?
It changed my thinking to listen more, to actually pay attention to the evidence, to sometimes when you get a little amped up, just take a deep breath, get a little Zen moment for yourself and analyze the evidence that's coming through, the responses that are coming through. And that's what I try to do. It doesn't always happen, like with the Opera House I was talking about earlier. It didn't hit me till I was putting the episode together, but yeah, so just listen more, listen and react less is kind of my kinder, gentler way of investigating at this point.
But that's hard for a lot of people.
It is. A lot of people, like you were saying earlier, they go for the reaction, which I don't understand. As a human, I just don't. I don't like to be scared, and I think that's why I dove into this as hard as I did, because it was one thing that terrified me for so long. I had to figure out how to not be scared of it anymore.
So for you, how do you prepare yourself in going into an investigation then? Do you calm yourself? Do you meditate? No, I don't. I do meditate not nearly as much as I should right now. But yes, I try to meditate. I do all the stuff and all the things, try to open my third eye. I try to do chakra balancing and things like that. There's a little bit of a witchy side to me the older I get as well. But I think that's, the way of the world. Hey, we can all be that way. I mean, heck, why not? Never hurts anybody.
I'm charging my new moon water out there right now, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
Moon water? Really?
Yeah. You put your intentions on it, that soaks up the new moon energy, and water my plants with it. I drink it. I put it in humidifiers. It's amazing.
And it works.
I mean, is it psychological? I don't know. It works for me.
That's all that matters. All that matters. Kitsie, I want you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. And when we come back, we're going to learn more of her paranormal experiences. We're going to get into some big-time stories. Let's learn what ghosts are. Let's learn what we should do and not do on investigations. Kitsie Duncan is our guest tonight. Remember, you can go to Amazon, pick up her new book, I'd Rather Talk to Dead People, My Journey as a Paranormal Researcher. It's on Amazon right now. It's only $14. Go check it on out. Spaced Out Radio's hour number 2 coming up next. All right, we're clear?
Is this one going to be long enough I can take a potty break?
Yeah, we got 6 minutes. I'll be right back. I'm just going to run my dogs outside, okay?
Okay.
UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that...
All right, I am back. We're just waiting for Kitsie here. We got just 2 minutes here. And I hope you're enjoying tonight's show. She's a wonderful guest. Wonderful guest. Let's get to some of your questions as well. And Christian Hill, welcome to the chat room. Thank you so much for joining us. Kitsie is back.
Hey, hey.
Hi, hi. Hey, Crave Dog, how you doing? Just scrolling through the chat room here. Thank you to Wagon Breath for the awesome $3 super chat. We really do appreciate the love and support. Steam Train Mark in Australia confirming we are alive tomorrow in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank God.
I literally need to know that. So that is cool.
Oh, I do remember a moment where I was terrified. Now, of course.
Well, save it.
Speaking of Australia.
Save it. If it involves sharks, I'm going to poo my pants.
It was another jail, of course.
Oh, yes. All right, we have just under 45 seconds. And thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up for this show. Everybody who has hit that subscribe button and is new to our channel, thank you so much for the love that you are giving us. We really do appreciate it. We're going to get going here in about 25 seconds. Don't you just love Dave Schrader?
Oh my God, I love him to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
He's magical.
He is a great, great dude. And Shane Pittman as well. Fantastic guy.
I've not met Shane.
Oh.
I've known Dave for years through the Comic-Con stuff.
Hold on 1 second here.
Sorry.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind everyone that you can listen to us on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Quadrivoltine. Quadrivoltine is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Kitsie Duncan. She has a great book out called I'd Rather Talk to Dead People, My Journey as a Paranormal Researcher. She has a great YouTube channel called The Oddity Files, so you want to hit subscribe on that. Kitsie, thank you so much for joining us.
It's Oddity Files crew. I got kicked off of our Oddity Files channel. I don't know how to get back in.
Oh, I hate when that happens. That happens. You do remember a terrifying story.
I do. So because of the day job where we go to comic conventions all over the world, we happened to be in Australia for a couple weeks. And through friends of friends of friends, I hooked up with Pete, who ran the investigations at the Parramatta Jail, which is spelled Goal there. And I always want to say goal. And we were doing, it was just Clayton and I. Carter couldn't make it. So we were doing solo investigations, and, me and my wise thinking chose the cell block where the story was that a man had murdered his cellmate, chopped him up in little pieces, and flushed him down the toilet. Did I research it to see if it was true? No, but I really trusted Pete, and I really liked Pete, so I went with it. And it got terrifying when I was in said cell, and I felt something moving. I almost felt like a cat, going in and out between my ankles, like walking around my ankles. And it just terrified me because I was by myself, and I lost it for a second. And when Kitsie gets scared, she starts talking really loud. I don't yell at the ghosts, but I start talking very firm. I get the mommy voice out. And then I realized what I was doing to myself. I was just freaking myself out because nothing was harming me. Nothing was pushing me. Nothing was scratching me. And I finally calmed down and I got over it. But for that brief moment in time, it could have been the jet lag. Let's blame it on the jet lag.
Always works for me. Always works.
So, yeah. Yeah, it was very scary for a brief moment in time. So other than it's jails do freak me out. I went into a jail after that first one that had, Al Capone's hitman in it. And I walked into the place and I said, okay, you, and I dropped the F-bomb, listen up. Did I get any evidence that night? I did not. And that was another lesson learned, why I should be nice to the ghosts.
I have a great question for you from Cedric in our chat room. And Cedric is asking, how can I become a paranormal investigator? I'm an empath, intuitive, very sensitive, and feel energy short and long distances, nature, and experienced in seeing orbs since I was 6 years old.
What I always tell people is find a public investigation in and around where you may live. Or travel to one and meet like-minded people. If you're looking to do it with a team, sometimes teams show up at those places, or you can even search Facebook for teams in your area. I know a lot of teams are always looking to add more people to their group. And it's honest, like I said, it was a great way for me to learn some things when I was with that other group. I decided it was not for me. But a lot of people, it's what works for them. But please be nice to the spirits.
For sure. Do you get a lot of people coming up to you saying, hey, how do I get into this? What do I need to do?
I do. A lot of people.
What do you think?
So sorry about that.
What do you think the people are asking for in that? Do you think they're really asking to become paranormal investigators, or they're just curious on how difficult it is? Because I have a feeling a lot of people who are not very familiar with how boring a paranormal investigation can be, have watched a little bit too much television thinking that everything's jumping out from around corners and down hallways.
Right. And you sit there for 10 hours straight and you get enough evidence to put into a half hour, 45-minute episode. So, and these big ghost shows on the big channels out there, they're investigating those places for 3 days in a row. And what you get is that hour's worth of entertainment. But I think people should try it. If it's something they're interested in, they should definitely give it a shot. And I tell them exactly what I just said is, find other like-minded people in your area. And it's not as taboo as it used to be. I mean, sitting at the water cooler at work, talk about ghost adventures, talk about whatever you're watching on TV. Specifically, the Oddity Files would be great if you want to talk to people about that. Or my new Paranormal Crossroads with an X, not a CROSS. And people always have a story. Like, so many people tell me, I just don't want to talk about this with other people. I'm like, why not? You're talking to me about it. And everybody I meet seems to have a story. I think if we opened up the conversation about it with the rest of the normal people out there, I think people would be pleasantly surprised. You do have the people that are scared because they don't understand it and they become the skeptic side of things. But yeah, I think it needs to be a conversation more often than not.
For the people who have maybe not investigated before and are asking your opinions, do you tell them about the dangers that this can be a dangerous field?
I don't, because I haven't run into it. I'm sure it is. I'm sure people have been possessed. I'm sure people have been scratched and pushed and things like that. But it hasn't happened to me. I tell people to treat the spirits with respect. I tell them, go in out of love, light, peace, and positivity. Are they going to listen? No. And nobody's really asked me about the dangers because that's not what I'm all about. And if they're watching my show, they know that going in. And I think more people want to investigate the kinder and gentler way out there to get the actual stories from the spirits that want to tell them.
You have been around the world investigating places, which is very lucky because a lot of people can't get out of their own hometown, let alone their own state or province. Why have you made this such a passion?
I'm obsessed. I'm completely obsessed. I keep getting the evidence that's proving to me, and not everybody, but a lot of other people, that this is a real thing, that people are sticking around and they do want people to listen to them. And now, investigating the notoriously haunted locations, I've been there. I've done it for 3+ seasons on YouTube and Amazon Prime. And I think I'm done with that. I think I'm ready to reinvent things. And like I was saying earlier, I want to help people now, but I want to help people and spirits live together in harmony. Sounds so corny and hippie chickish, but I really do.
Is it possible?
I think so.
How?
I really do.
How?
I think they just need to be more open-minded. They need to learn that, maybe here's my theory. You talk about the pushing and the scratching. What if that's a spirit who doesn't understand what they're capable of yet and are literally just trying to reach out to people and get their attention so that they will listen to their story? It's just a theory. It's mine. I'm not saying everybody has to like it.
Hey, if it works, right?
Yeah.
You're allowed that.
For sure.
You were allowed that. Let's go to another question here from Marty in our chat room. Kitsie, have you ever had other kind of paranormal experiences besides ghosts, whether it's UFOs, Bigfoot, fairies, you name it?
I wish. I am a huge proponent for Mr. Bigfoot. I really think he just needs a hug from Kitsie Duncan, and he'd come out and say hello and let us, know that he's the real deal. Aliens scare the crap out of me. I've seen far too many movies where they just want to take over the world and kill us all. Fairies, they're kind of my new obsession. It's funny that was even brought up on this week's episode of Oddity Files, the podcast. Our podcast it's not really interviewing people, but it's my friend Nick Floyd and I, and we just kind of tell each other stories about things we find on the internet. And my story was how to attract fairies. So I'm kind of obsessed with them now, and I'm going to build a fairy garden this spring. So I will keep you posted on that.
I have one. In my garden, yes.
I love that.
I have this beautiful, in my front yard, I have 8-9 trees that are probably, the smallest one's probably 70 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one in my garden. And last year at a garage sale, I found a little door with a picket fence around it. And I'm like, I need that. I need that for the garden. So I built myself a little fairy garden there.
Yep. And, the research I had done on it, they're supposed to be invisible. But they only show themselves to people they really trust. And you bring them offerings of champagne in a walnut shell. It'll make them very happy. But they're supposed to bring, positivity, creativity, things like that to your home and the people that they care about. So they sound amazing. I want all of them.
I used to have a really big fear of gnomes. Big fear.
Really?
They just weirded me out, and it just bugged me. And one day, David Weatherly said to me, we need to have a little bit of a private chat. And I'm like, okay. And I started getting scared because I'm like, oh my goodness, did I piss David off? Because he's one of my mentors in this field. And I'm like, oh, did I upset him? Oh my God, why does he want to talk to me? So I called him up and I'm like, hey man, you wanted to talk? He's like, yeah, we got to talk about one of your issues that you have. And I'm like, what? What'd I do? He goes, oh, you haven't done anything wrong. He goes, but we need to talk about the gnomes. And I'm like, what do you mean we need to talk about the gnomes? So he starts telling me how the gnomes know if you don't like them. And if you don't like them and they're around, they will start being a trickster on you and
that makes sense.
And start making bad things happen. So he told me this story about how you got to be able to trust them and be nice to them, and they will take care of you in your area. But they just like weird me out. They totally weird me out. But now, like in my office here, I got like 4 or 5 gnomes in here. You know, they could like jump out and kill me at any time. You know, but you don't know. You don't know. But it's just weird. It's weird how this folklore can actually be quite lively. David told me a story about a friend of his who literally saw a gnome and kind of was rude to it. And the thing stole his favorite hat.
Yeah, so, I didn't imagine that was going to end well.
Yeah, so the guy went back, apologized, went back to the area, apologized, never got his hat back, but he had to bring an offering, and the gnome stole that too. Right? So
I love it.
Oh yeah, you have to be open-minded with it. You have to totally be open-minded with it. You know,
I actually investigated a place here in Indiana, another jail. I love them and I hate them at the same time. But the gentleman who bought the jail and turned it into his home, he said that there was a gnome that ran around the jail at night. And I was really upset I never got to see it.
Well, you got to go back for it. You got to leave little things for it. Tobacco. Little peace offerings.
See, I have a little shrine to Papa Legba behind me that I leave tobacco for and candy and bourbon.
See for Sasquatch, we always bring tobacco. It's a peace offering.
Really?
Yeah, it's a peace offering. That's what First Nations people have been doing for centuries. It's a peace offering.
I apparently have not researched this enough.
Yeah. So, and we have gifting sites out in the forest for them and everything. So we got a couple of different gifting sites. So it's all good. You know,
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
amazing. What do you leave for Bigfoot to take? I need to know now.
We leave toys. We leave, you go to the dollar store and you buy those little glass colored pebbles. I leave those. I've left Christmas items. I've like shiny items. I've left Hot Wheels cars. Yeah.
I'm so because I live in a forest that allegedly has Bigfoot sightings. Have I seen him? No. My son was a very hairy teenager for a while. I think he might have been the Sasquatch sightings in our area. But now I'm going to leave him some toys.
Yeah. Once you find where they are, that's where you leave them.
I love that.
I've told this story already like twice this week, but in our one area where we have a gifting site, my buddy Merle, whose birthday is today, so happy birthday, Merle.
Happy birthday.
Myself, and my buddy Mark went out to this plane crash site where 52 people died back in 1965. And it's still known as Canada's largest unsolved murder because they know that somebody put a bomb on board.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So long story short, we were doing a paranormal investigation there because Merle had always wanted to do it. And we took this deer trail back, seeing what else was back there, and we started getting talked to by something in the forest. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was like, that's what it sounded like.
Oh, my goodness.
And that happened twice. And we go back into the area, and my buddy Mark, in this area, we have to go in armed because there's grizzly bears, there's black bears, there's cougars,
It's Canada.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could kill you there. And no pun intended at the crash site, but we have to go in armed. So Mark kind of walks away from us into this cul-de-sac area that's kind of cut into the forest. That's where they used to turn around the recovery vehicles from the crash site. And he's standing there. Merle is up by one of the pieces of the crash site, and I'm kind of in between them. And Merle all of a sudden starts scooting on out of there. He's like, I'm out. He goes, whatever it is, like 20 feet away from me, there's something moving in the bushes and making noise and huffing and puffing. And so I call over to Mark, and I'm like, hey, Mark, Mike has something over here. And Mark kind of puts his hand up, and he goes like this. He puts his finger up like, shut up, Dave. Shut up. Puts his backpack down, raises his rifle right in front of him because there was something bipedal coming at him.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
whoa.
We were pretty much pushed out of the area. And now we have a gifting site there where we've had some strange occurrences. Can't get there. We haven't been there since beginning of December because of the snowfall. We won't be able to get out there for at least another 3 to 4 weeks. We're going to try to get out there.
Okay.
But, yeah, we put out some cool stuff. We had a nickel exchange. So my buddy Mark, his daughter, put out a 1965 nickel on a log, and anything could have taken it, you know, pack rat, porcupine, bird, whatever. You know, but the weird part about it was the next week it was gone. We went back the following week, and sitting on one of the toys at the tree is a 2019 nickel. Sitting there.
Out.
Yeah, so the 1965 nickel has disappeared, but the 2019 nickel was now sitting there. So we left that nickel there.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So that's the weirdo stories. The weirdo stories.
I don't hear enough Bigfoot stories, so sorry if I made you repeat something.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. You know, but I mean, it's scary when you get to play in the field. That's what I go for. You know, I don't go for the fear factor. I go, like, when I investigate anything, and I hate using the word investigate because I am so not an investigator. So not an investigator. I'm a journalist by trade, and I'm an experiencer. I go for the experience. Don't care what it is. I don't care if I get a photo, and I know a lot of my audience will probably not like that. I don't care if I get a photo. I don't care if I get a video. I just want to see something. Just want to see something with my eyes to say, hey, I saw that. That is friggin' cool. You know what I'm saying? And so
I like that. You're an experiencer. I might have to steal that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So whether it's, you know, whether it's seeing aliens in the forest or whether it's seeing Bigfoot in the forest or whatever it may be, I've never pulled out a camera. Doesn't really interest me. You know, to all of a sudden say, hold on, Mr. Bigfoot, can you just stop right there so we can get a selfie? You know,
I'm a picture it didn't happen kind of girl, though.
But for me, the difference is, not to make it about me here, but for
not
me,
at all.
But for me, I'm not going to impress anybody. I'm not going to out there to, you know, get that money shot or to make it on TV. I mean, look at this. This is a face for radio here. Face for radio.
Stop.
And I look at the size of my melon. I mean, people would buy me by the pound if I was in the fruits and vegetables section. Size of my head.
Oh, I get where you're coming from. But if I go back and tell my husband, well, you're not going to believe what I saw. And he's like, no, I'm not, because video or it didn't happen. That's like the very first investigation I did on my own, solo. I saw a full-on head-to-toe apparition. It was a little girl. She was like known for that location. She was like the main spirit that everybody sees there. My husband was right behind me as I was rounding the corner, and I saw it. She kind of peeked her head around the corner, smiled at me, the sweetest little smile, ducked back around the doorway, and was gone. So, I mean, I don't do this anymore, but at the time I went running toward her, and there was a dead end there. There was no place for anybody to go. And I'm explaining it was my husband and a friend of mine at the time, what I saw. And he literally looks at me and goes, did you get video of it? Because if you didn't happen. So that's
Ouch.
my husband.
That's a real kick to the shins there.
A little bit.
Mr. Duncan
I think
kicking
it's
you in the
because he
shins
doesn't
there.
see it. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I went and I explained because it was it's a museum now. It's the Fairy Plantation. And I was telling the ladies that, stayed in the little office.
Let's get to this story when we come back. Kitsie Duncan is our guest. She's got a great book out saying, I'd rather talk to dead people. My journey as a paranormal researcher on Amazon. Check it on out. We'll be back with Kitsie right after this. My fault there. My fault. I apologize.
I figured I just wasn't paying attention.
No, that was my fault.
Leave them with a cliffhanger. It works.
Yes. John in the chat room. First Nations people have always said that tobacco is a peace offering. So if we are contributing to the delinquency of minor Bigfoot for starting smoking, that's a chance we're going to take. It's a chance we're going to take.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back in that forest. Oh my God.
I bet.
I'm just itching to go in there and kind of spend some time. Like, it's really cool because we have one mountain in an area where we know there's Bigfoot that trappers have seen. And,
oh wow.
And we sat on top of the mountain a few nights in the summer. And you got to realize, like in my area, there is no light pollution. Nothing. Okay, so we're sitting on top of this mountain, staring north, and my buddy Mark's like, hey, what's that? What's that up in the sky? Like, there's not a cloud in the sky. Mm-hmm. And it's like 11:30 at night. I'd be damned if we didn't see a SpaceX rocket flying by.
Get out.
It was amazing. I've never seen a SpaceX rocket fly, or any rocket whatsoever. It was amazing. It was absolutely. We haven't seen any UFOs or Bigfoot there yet. We know on the other side of the mountain there has been a couple years ago potential dogman sightings there. Yeah, that's the one I don't want to run into. PBR, how are you, buddy? Good to have you here. And the gorgeous and talented Jennifer Richard Elizalde is back, everyone. Make sure you give her a round of applause for attending tonight's show. So, yeah.
The rake is what scares me.
I know up north, when you get more into the Yukon, which bleeds into the Alberta, Saskatchewan area, and into the Northwest Territories, there's a lot of Wendigo sightings up there.
Yeah.
That shit scares me.
Oh, yeah. Because you don't really know what those are capable of.
No. I would sooner come across a grizzly bear. See, the area where we are, there is grizzly bears. And
okay. That's terrifying in and of itself.
I've never seen a grizzly bear. I've seen their scat. And my goodness, I didn't think an animal could shit that much. Hello, gorgeous Teresa. How are you? Yeah, honestly, it looked like a bunch, like somebody had taken like 8 or 10 cans of Campbell's soup. You know, when you get the thick stuff like the cheese but it looked like pumpkin color because it had been eating rose hips.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it was just massive. Like the pile was probably like this big.
It's like dinosaur poop.
Oh, it was massive. You know what? I actually have a picture of it.
Do you really?
I do. I was so impressed with this poop. I just got to find it here. Honestly, I mean, how are you not impressed with shit, a pile of shit that big, right?
I mean, my grandson makes me run into the bathroom every time he poops at my house, so.
Well, but that's
really
cool.
Impressed.
I'm just trying to find it here. It's here somewhere. It's before I grew my hair, I think. much time do we got? We got like a minute here. Is that it? No. I'm just gonna... there it is. Like, look at the size of that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. Totally
It's
insane.
literally orange.
Yes. So for our audience there on YouTube, I'll go that way. That'll be easier for you to see. That is one big pile of shit. That's not lovely. That's a piece of shit. It's coming through a little shiny here. So I apologize. Thank you to Dr. Marty and Wagon Breath for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the support that you guys are showing our show on a continued basis. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's given us a thumbs up and thumbs down. Here we go with the second half of the show starting right now. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Kitsie Duncan, paranormal researcher. The Audio Files Crew is her YouTube channel. No?
Oddity Files Crew.
Oddity, not the.
You said Audio Files.
Did I? I apologize. It might be
No,
my Canadian
that's okay.
accent. Might be my Canadian accent. All right.
Maybe.
See, now you got audio in my head.
Oddity
Files Crew is her YouTube channel, and she's got a book out. It's been out for a couple of months. I'd rather talk to dead people, my journey as a paranormal researcher, and we're continuing on with some talk here. Let's go to, we don't really have any questions for you at this time from the audience. Those we'll pick up, but let's go to ghosts. You know, what was it like the first time you saw a ghost?
It was beautiful, actually. Like I was saying, it was this sweet little girl in a pinafore and like patent leather shoes with long, dark, curly hair and the sweetest little smile you could ever imagine. But when I rounded the corner and she wasn't there, and my camera was, of course, pointing at the floor the entire time, I was very disappointed. But I went and talked to the ladies that ran the museum and explained to them what I saw. And they brought out this book of drawings and photos. And they said, "Is this who you saw?" And it was absolutely the exact same spirit I had seen. She was known as the Fairy Plantation Girl. They've since found out her name. I believe it's Rachel. I'm Alzheimer years old sometimes, and names don't always stick in my head. But people had gotten pictures of reflections of her in the glass at the museum. So many other people had seen her. So it was validating. What is the word I'm looking for? Validating.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's late here.
Audio files validating. Thank you. We're a good team.
Payback. Yeah, but it was very validating when those ladies had told me that and actually brought out this book. And we went back early last year, right before everything went to crap. And they actually found a photo of the little girl as well. And she looks just like everybody thought she did. So it was amazing.
That is awesome. That is awesome. For you not having any fear, do you worry about having naivety on the subject?
Oh, absolutely. I totally do. I will swear up and down that demons aren't haunting everybody's house and that they have much bigger fish to fry, whether it be the White House or the castle in England or wherever. Demons should be trying to possess people, if they were using their heads. But until the one day, I come face to face with the demon. So there's that. I do surround myself as a human being with love, light, peace, and positivity. Is it like a barrier? Is it why I'm talking to the spirits that tell me their story and don't yell at me or hurt me or harm me in any way? I don't know. Is it just luck? That could be it too. But I think it's my approach. I think it does help. Maybe it helps the lesser spirits in a location that's known for negativity and malevolence. It lets the other spirits come through because I don't want to deal with that. I don't know. So many questions. Have any of them been answered? Not really.
Are there certain
12 years later.
Are there certain locations you would never investigate? Like, for instance, would you ever investigate, one of those taboo type areas? Like, for instance, Ground Zero from 9/11 is considered a taboo area for the paranormal, even though there's people who've kind of snuck onto those grounds and tried to investigate there, or other places of tragedy like that?
If I was given the opportunity to, yes. But I'm not going to sneak on to a place when they specifically don't want it. Before I even got into all of this paranormal stuff, or it was the early stages, I can't remember time. What is even time anymore? I went to the 9/11 site, and that's when I realized that my empathness is like a real thing, is when you walk into that space. And I could almost hear the screams, and I don't want to get any more graphic than that, but I had a really emotional experience there. So specifically there, I don't think I would ever want to investigate. Excuse me.
But
dying over here.
But is there anything that is out of limits for you? Like, for instance, I can tell you right now that if I was a paranormal investigator, even in the areas that I am, I wouldn't go into an area where, say, you find out that children were abused or murdered or places like that, because I just have a big heart for children, and I couldn't handle that type of energy or trying to go in there for that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do completely understand where you're coming from, but I might, because they might have a story to tell. Maybe they want company. I don't know. I've investigated several children over the years, and they're a delight, and I love them to pieces. Like the Fairy Plantation girl, to be perfectly honest, and the spirit from the Culbertson Mansion. She was a 15-year-old young lady, and they kind of gravitate towards me sometimes. So in that specific situation, if I was allowed to, I would. It would be sad. It would be horrific. But if they had a story to tell, I'd want to be the one to tell it.
Is that out of your own personal ego, or is it curiosity?
It's for them. It wouldn't be for me. It would be for them. I don't need cameras. If they want to tell a story, if they have something they want to say, I want to be there for them. I don't know. I'd rather talk to dead people.
Speaking of putting yourself in harm's way, I mean, that's something that you never try to do. When we talk about locations, are there certain locations that you just have no interest in going to?
Not really. I mean, nothing comes to mind. There are bucket list places for sure. Buckingham Palace, the White House, Alcatraz, all those places people can't get into. Yeah, I'm not big on investigating outdoors, because there are real people that can come in and scare you and murder you, and kill you, so you end up haunting the place. And cemeteries, I'm not big on investigating cemeteries. I don't think I ever have, except for the one that's down the street from my house, and it has a huge folklore story attached to it. I would love to investigate an old abandoned hospital. That's something I've never done.
I want to ask you about, some of the synchronicities you have had with bringing, spirits home with you. How has this affected you and your own home when a spirit has come back? Can you give us a couple of examples?
So when I realized the first one had followed me home, it took a couple weeks, but we had a new puppy at the time, and she was playing with somebody who wasn't there, doing tricks with somebody who wasn't there. So I watched it for a little bit. I think it was a couple days that it happened. And finally, the girl's name from Culbertson was Anna. And I said, Anna, if that's you, can you bring Tasha, which was the dog's name, to me? And the dog walked right over to me. She doesn't really do anything terrible. I hear her footsteps in my bedroom from time to time. She honestly comes over on my spirit box on almost every investigation I do. And I personally think she's just kind of turned more into my guardian angel than anything else, or spirit guide, whatever the term is that's cool this week.
Really? That doesn't bother you?
No, not at all. She's not hurting anybody. She was probably lonely there, so she can hang out here. I laid down the ground rules. You don't bother Chris, who's my husband, because he doesn't want anything to do with the paranormal. And when my kids would stay, I'm like, they're off limits as well. But other than that, you do you, girl. You play with the puppies all you want.
Interesting. Do you like helping people? This is where the paranormal, in my opinion, gets a little dangerous, because I've had a couple of major experiencers on this show in the last couple of years, and they said the biggest mistake they made was when they figured out that there were some weird happenings in their house. They knew nothing about the paranormal, so the first thing they did was they went to Google to see if there was any paranormal investigators around their area, and those people came in and literally just stirred things up so badly that they couldn't even be in their own home. It was that bad. So there is some danger to people doing that. Do you like doing home and residential investigations like that to help people?
So for the longest time, I said there's absolutely no way I'm ever going to do a residential investigation ever, because that was my fear. I was afraid once the spirits were able to communicate, realize that, they can interact with people, that it would just amp up and go insane. And I didn't know how to fix that. I can't say that I'm the person that can cross a spirit over, nor do I. My biggest fear is if I were to try to do that, I'd end up sending, some spirit from a brothel in Colorado and ends up in a kindergarten classroom. That's no bueno in my book. But this is actually the path I'm on right now, because I had a couple friends that were experiencing some things, and Clayton and Carter and myself have kind of all gone separate ways. Carter's my son, so he can't go too far. And Clayton moved out to California. So Oddity Files crew, as it were, is no longer. But I've got this bug. I've got this obsession. So a couple friends of mine, a friend Tammy, she had lost her son early last year, and she thought she was getting signs, kind of like the experience I went through with my dad. And she asked if I would come over and do an investigation. And the kid made every bell and whistle go off that I brought into that place. But in that case, she wants that activity in her house because that's the son that she lost. But what's beautiful about this story is her son was wheelchair bound, was never able to speak, lived much longer than his life expectancy was in the first place. But we finally heard his voice come over on my odd box hooked up to a spirit box, and it was his voice all night long. So it can be beautiful. And then I had another friend who had a touch lamp going off in her house, and come to find out it was her grandma was there just checking in on her. And I went back a second time to have a spirit medium do a reading for her, my friend Tiffany Rice. This is my friend KJ's house. And I was running a odd box session with the Portal Plus app and kept saying it was sorry and that it was so ashamed. And I looked at the box. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but we're only here to talk to KJ's family. We switched back over to the spirit box, found out it was her dad, who she had a falling out with, who was finally able to say he was sorry and that he was very ashamed of the way he acted when he was alive. So I'm still getting really cool evidence. It's just a different kind of evidence. And we've turned it into a new YouTube show. Yay!
Yay! Yay!
And it's you can just go to paranormalxroad.com and it'll take you right to that playlist.
What do you want to do with all of this? Like, what do you, outside of what you're trying to prove to yourself, what do you want to do with all this? Is it just about bringing attention to those who may have a question about their own beliefs?
Right now, my whole MO is to help people that are scared, like I was, to let them understand that sometimes you just need to talk out loud to an empty room when there's a knocking that won't stop at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, you know what? I need some sleep. So if you could just chill out till tomorrow while I'm at work, you know, that kind of situation. It's not anything to be scared of. If you're not summoning demons in your basement, it's probably a benign haunting. It's not. A friend of mine said this recently. It's not a haunting. It's a visit.
Isn't that being a little politically correct?
Maybe. It's how the world rolls right now. But I call them hauntings. But it is a visit. Why can't our family members come visit us from the beyond? Are there rules on the other side? These are questions I need answered. Do you know?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm the wrong guy to ask when it comes to that because, you know, I do everything wrong. I go into places, I don't record anything, I don't film anything, I don't take any pictures. I'm just there for the cool factor, like rock on. Let's make this
wrong.
happen.
That's how you like to do it, and it's awesome, and I appreciate that about you.
But on the flip side, I am looking for answers. Because I do want to know what's going on. I do want to know. My biggest thing is about life after death. Mm-hmm. Right? I have a perpetual fear of dying.
Dude, me too. I think that's what part of my obsession.
I had the worst dream ever like 3 weeks ago where I died. And I literally am sitting in my body as my body gets thrown into a lake. And I'm like watching out my eyes, and I'm like, okay, it's time to swim up. Oh, yes, you're dead. You can't. I'm trying to kick my legs and my arms, and I feel myself sinking, and the light above getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm sitting there, and my back hits the bottom, and I'm sitting up, staring up at the warm lake, and I'm like, I thought my soul was supposed to leave my body. Right?
Dave, that's terrifying.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. Right?
And that debunks every theory I've ever heard that you can't die in your dreams.
Yeah. Oh, I was dead. And I was sitting there in my body. I'm like, am I literally here forever? Like, do I have to watch fish and bugs eat me until, like, what happens when my body decays? And I'm sitting here thinking this because I can't move my body. I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to open my mouth or take a breath through my nose. And I know I can't because I'm dead. Oh, yeah. It was freaky. Freaky.
Was this a past life reoccurring dream?
No idea.
Have you ever had that dream before?
No, never had that dream before. I knew I was in my form because I was like, man, I'm fat, right? Like,
Stop.
Seriously, but no, serious. It was a dream that was, it was scary. It freaked me right out. And, my big thing is I've always had a fear of death. So when I see paranormal investigators, and where a part of the reason why I get frustrated personally is talking to ghosts does nothing for me. On a personal level, it's fun. It's fun learning that story. But we have the opportunity to solve the biggest question in humankind's history, and we have all of this brain power and all of this knowledge and all of this technology, and very, very few are actually trying to use that to find out. And that is an irk with me. It irks me that is happening in this field. So what about your thoughts about trying to solve the life after death riddle?
I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest. I have this question too. I'm almost terrified to find out the answer, but there's somebody I'm talking to. My biggest fear is what you just said. You sit in a box and you rot after you die.
Oh, me too.
But I think this paranormal investigating, ghost hunting, whatever it is you want to call it, gives me hope that that's not what's going to happen. Have I ever actually tried to sit down with a ghost and ask, so what happens after you die? I haven't. I'm going to be perfectly honest, but I'm scared of the answer. I think that's probably why I haven't done it, because what if it hurts? We don't know.
Got to learn to astral travel.
Oh, see, that seems really scary to me too.
No, that stuff's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk away from the show about that. But
okay.
But I understand your fear, because I would say next to having to remarry your ex,
God, no.
Wondering about life after death is probably or dying is the next biggest fear, or the ultimate fear in our lifetimes. And, it opens up a lot of profound mortal thoughts that the minute you're born, you're on a timeline. You just don't know when your timeline clicks. So is it all part of it, or is it something that we need to investigate to find out how, what, why? Does the spirit or consciousness continue on? Is there religious deities out there? If not, who won the lottery on whose God is real?
Yeah.
There's a lot. We've got just about 2 minutes here. Let's get to Thomas's question here. And he is asking, Kitsie, have you ever had any experiences that went completely out of your control?
I don't think so. On a paranormal investigation, I don't think so. But I am the biggest control freak you will ever meet in your life. So I don't really let things get out of my control. I know when to reel it in if I need to. I know when to reel it out if I need to. And again, that's just like dealing with everyday people. When to stop. You can read it in somebody's eyes when you need to stop talking about something. Just like you're in a haunted location, you can feel it in the air. Somebody's getting agitated. It's not my crew, so it's got to be somebody unseen at this point. So maybe soften it a little bit. And I'm not there to piss them off. I'm not. So, and I don't.
And I understand that. And I think that's great, as we got about 1 minute to go here before we go to break here at the top of the hour. So leading into Thomas's question here, being in control, when you go into an investigation, are you, with about 45 seconds, are you preparing yourself for anything?
No, it's I'm for the experience. I'm an experiencer. See, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I just hope for the best and body language, but whatever you'd call it for the spirit world, you just sense.
Right.
I lost you.
We got you back here. We got you back. You kind of went into digital mode there for a second, so we didn't catch much of that. But that's okay. So I had to turn our camera off and then back on to kind of clean the signal up. But I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we do have to go to break here at the top of the hour. 2 hours down already. This has flown on by. We got Kitsie Duncan for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio, and we are having a blast talking everything paranormal tonight. And when we come back, we'll get more questions from you guys, as well as talk more ghouly ghost stories. Then it's the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Still having fun?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling it.
All right.
Feeling the burn of
the time.
2 o'clock in the morning.
All right. I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
I'm going to pee and smoke. I'll be back.
All right.
Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you.
All right, I'm back. We're just waiting for Kitsie. She'll be here any second. Like I said, any second, there she is. Hey, Bungus, you're starting to pull a gill again. We don't want to go all gill. All right. Christian. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Christian, we are on in Mississauga, Ontario, in Noonan, Georgia, in New Orleans, in Apache Junction, Arizona, which is right beside Mesa. We're on in, what's our California station? Ridgecrest, California, and in Bellingham, Washington.
It's quite the syndication, sir.
Yes, trying. Nope. We're also on Spreaker and some Revolution Radio, TalkStream Live, KPNL, and going from there. All right, we have 30 seconds. Thank you to Dr. Marty and to Wagon Breath for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show. And, thank you to everybody tuning in, giving us a thumbs up and everything. So we're kicking ass, taking names here. Kicking ass, taking names. Having a great night. I'm having fun. This is a good way to spend a Friday. Good way.
Was there just a female talking in your room?
Yeah, that was a commercial. I accidentally potted it up.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure it wasn't an EVP.
Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears and everyone tuning in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Quadrivoltine. Quadrivoltine is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Kitsie Duncan. She has a great book on Amazon called I'd Rather Talk to Dead People, My Journey as a Paranormal Researcher. And it's only like $14. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. And she's been great all night. We're so glad we've had her on the show for the first time. Definitely will not be the last unless she absolutely hates us, which I don't think she does.
I love you.
Oh, you lie. You lie. You're way too kind.
I love you.
You're way too kind. Kitsie, welcome back.
Thank you. So during our little break, I smoke. Whatever. Judge me. I don't care. I literally heard voices in my woods.
Nice.
I live in the middle of nowhere.
Did you say hello?
No, I was terrified. So there we go. There's another story in my own front yard.
Don't you love it when that stuff happens around your house?
Oh, well, Lord only knows. It almost sounded like Native Americans chanting or something. There's no way my neighbors are up. They're old as dirt. So I don't know. And I never hear my neighbors. They're so far away.
I had about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I had a ghost dog that resembled my German Shepherd walking around my property.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I saw it 3 times, and then I brought my dogs in one night, and I took them outside to the bathroom, bring them in, and you know how dogs kind of like bump into a door and then scratch. So I let my two dogs in, close the door. Like 2 seconds later, the bump on the door and the scratching let me in. I didn't let it in.
Wow.
Did not let it in. No.
Oh, you should have let him in.
What if it's a hound from hell? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, hellhounds, that could be a problem. 1,000,000%. Yeah, I was terrified that I'd start a conversation with, I don't know, we'll call him Littlefoot. And then I'd miss my cue to be back on the show with you. We're going with that. I wasn't scared.
Yeah. In the meantime, you had to change your pants, but
maybe a little bit.
Whatever happens. I mean, that's all part of the paranormal genre that we are in. When you decide to go to a location, are you investigating what's there beforehand? Like, are you saying, well, look, hey, we have a murderer here, let's go check out, or there was bodies found here, or there was a great shootout during the heyday of the 1800s. How do you pick a location?
When we travel, it's just wherever the day job takes us. And around here, I hear great things from other people about certain locations close to me here in the Midwest. And, some of them are bucket items. I've never made it to Trans-Allegheny. That would be amazing. But just whatever's available and whatever I can afford. Because, sometimes investigating these places are not cheap. And I don't have a budget. It's all out of pocket. We were able to do Waverly once. Had to save up for that one. We had the entire place to ourselves for the night. But when we go into these places, I listen to the stories. I listen to the past things that have happened. And then I pretty much just ask, tell me where your hot spots are. Where is the activity happening? And I'll decide who I think it is. Or they'll tell me who is communicating with me at the time. So I go in with an open mind. I hear the stories. I'm impressed by the stories. I'm intrigued by the stories. But I 9 times out of 10 end up leaving with my own story.
And what a story to tell is what it comes down to. Why do people believe you? Why are they putting their trust in what you are doing?
I don't know. I am genuine. I really, if I lie, you can read it all over my face. I'll be perfectly honest. I am not a good liar whatsoever. And, I jump sometimes because the jump scare is everybody's favorite, but they don't have to believe me. If they don't, I'm okay with that. And if they want to try it for themselves with my equipment, go for it, man. And you tell me what you get. I think you go into these locations, and especially the places that have been around for so long, there are so many different spirits there with so many different stories to tell. I think sometimes people can get different activity, different stories. I'm sorry, I'm struggling with words right now. Worried about that guy in my yard. But yeah, I go to the hot spots and I get what they tell me. If people don't believe me, I really don't care. I was trying not to say that, but I really don't care.
You bring up a good point, though. You do have to have in this field a very strong backbone, because it doesn't matter what photograph you get, what video you get. It is going to be torn apart on social media. There's always going to be someone there who is, their only goal in life is to rip everything apart, and they call themselves a skeptic, but really they're just a troll. How do you deal with the trolling aspect of everything?
I usually ban them, block them, whatever. I don't need that negativity in my life. I don't even give them any attention whatsoever, because that's what they're after. Honestly, it's what it all boils down to. I love that block button on all social media. I don't get it that often, though. Maybe it's because I do block people when it happens.
Well, I'm hitting the subscribe button on your YouTube channel right now.
Oh, thank you.
I'm that guy right now. I'm totally that guy right now.
And on YouTube, I don't open up comments. I leave the comments off.
Really?
Yeah. If they want to get in touch with me, Kitsie at oddityfiles.com.
I like the comments. I rarely read them, but every now and again I love basking in the trolls, like somebody who will insult my beard or my hair or my apparently I don't hear it, but apparently I have an accent.
You did on the phone, but I don't hear it now.
That's because I have my radio voice on.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I have my radio voice on. Or there's too many commercials, and I'm like, well, we're not a podcast. We're not a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now on our Amazon show, our show on Amazon that unfortunately you can't get in Canada. It's in the UK and the US only.
Yeah, thanks for excluding us, by the way.
Yeah, just search Oddity Files on there. There were some hateful things written, and I was like, whatever.
Well,
if I'm not your cup of tea, move on.
Well, literally cup of tea over in the UK. Literally.
Yeah.
Literal cup of
For
tea.
sure.
Yes.
Now, when the book came out, my first review was awful. That stung because it was the first time I'd done anything like this. But he literally said in the review, well, I didn't read the whole book. I'm like, okay, I don't care anymore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that all the time. Yeah, I get that all the time. The paranormal field is an eclectic group of people. How have you been able to kind of segue yourself to work with people and get to know people like Dustin Pari, like Dave Schrader, and what I would call the upper echelon of the paranormal field comparatively to people who are struggling, getting listeners to their own podcasts or YouTube channels or weekend warrior teams? How have you been able to elevate your game?
That's a really, really hard question. I've been fortunate enough to meet people like Dave and Dustin. I think I've pretty much met everybody who's got a show out right now through the comic conventions my day job takes me to, because they're in my photo op booth and I'll take pictures of photos with their fans, and we keep in touch over the years. Comparing myself to them, though, I don't compare myself to anybody. I can't, because then you're always second guessing yourself. And I think that's a problem in any field, not only the paranormal, is second guessing yourself. You got to do you. You've got to be the best you can be. If people like it, they do. If they don't, there's always another YouTube channel they can watch.
No, I get that, and I can appreciate that. You just handle your critics so well.
Yeah, well, I could let it get to me and I could let it eat me up inside. But honestly, they're just people that are looking for the wrong kind of attention out there. And if they don't, I don't understand why people have to take the time to leave bad comments. Because I'm not that girl. And I can't imagine that you're that guy, Dave. I have to be really upset about something like a plane delay and can't fix it, blah, 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 for me to even tweet about something.
Right.
So I'm just not that girl.
What is the ultimate for you in the paranormal world? What do you want to experience?
Well, now I want to sit down and have a conversation with the ghost and have them tell me exactly what happens when they die. It's everything. You've just changed my life, Mr. Dave Scott. Right now I want to help people that are afraid of the paranormal, like I was. It was almost debilitating for a hot minute for me. And I don't think that it's something people should have to worry about. There are much scarier things in this world than ghosts. So if I can help one person say, you know what, she was nice to this ghost, and this, I don't want to say nice because that sounds so lame, but I mean, it's what I do. And she actually got them to talk to them, and she heard their story, and there was no screaming and there was no yelling, and I actually enjoyed that, then I'm a happy camper.
Dream location.
The White House.
Why?
I want to talk to Abraham Lincoln. I've heard he haunts the place.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Really cool.
That would be really cool. And I remember, a few years ago that the George W. Bush's daughters they're not allowed to talk about the ghosts that are in there. I think that's one of the things that families, I have no proof of this, I'm going on different words, but apparently George Bush's daughters experienced a lot of paranormal activity while in the White House.
Oh, wow.
And it's one of those things that you're just not allowed to talk about.
Yeah. I read something, or I watched something that Truman had actually seen Lincoln walk into the bathroom where he was taking a bath, which is pretty freaking cool. And I thought I had heard that Michelle Obama had said something about it being haunted as well.
The secrets that are kept in the White House, aliens,
right?
UFOs.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I were to investigate anything, my dream would be to almost do a reality television show, much like, remember MTV, the Road Trippers?
Yeah.
And just hop on a paranormal motorhome, one of them bus-sized motorhomes, and just travel to all of these small communities across Canada, the United States, that may not get the attention, and go into these locations to tell the stories of all of this hidden folklore that we have no idea is going on, because we're so captivated by Gettysburg and Waverly Hills and all the asylums and prisons. Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay, but imagine the locations that have never been investigated. That, you pull into this small town. I remember a couple of years ago, I was driving down to Concrete, Washington, and I ended up taking the long way. Thought it was the short way, but it was the long way.
When that happens.
By about 5 hours.
Oh.
Okay. Like, it was the long way. And driving through the forests of Washington State, and I forget the community's name. All of a sudden, we come around this bend, and there's this completely old-fashioned community. Still has the horse rails to tie up your horses, and it's right on a river. It's picturesque. It's beautiful, and it's a tourism place. And I could go on a map right now and look it up, but I forget the name. But every little store you went in, it was all Bigfoot.
Oh.
Everything was Sasquatch and Bigfoot. And apparently in that area, there are dozens of sightings a year of the creature in that area. And I think of all of these little towns like that are off the main highways that hold these secrets the ghosts that have never spoken their story. That's what I want to find. That's what I want to do. So if I'm lucky enough and blessed enough ever to win the lottery, I will retire from everything, grab my motorhome and a camera crew, because I'll be able to afford one, and just travel. Just travel.
Along those lines, a goal of mine someday, maybe when I retire, would be to go to all these little towns that have these cryptid festivals and just hit every single one of those festivals. Like the Frogman in Loveland, Ohio festival, or there's like some weird turtle festival here in Indiana and just hit all that really cool stuff would be amazing. And then, check out the little, museums that were once somebody's homes that are haunted as well.
And that's the big thing. How many of those stories are we missing? I mean, there's like 50,000 paranormal teams in North America. How many are actually? Yeah, oh yeah. There's close to it. How many of those are we missing? How many of those stories? And I think those are the stories that we need to be told. Nikki, it wasn't Mount Baker. Now I'm going to have to go on Washington.
You have to get the Google.
Yes, Washington State map. Yes, now I'm going to have to look here because honestly, this little town it was so gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. Oh my goodness! Now I have to find I-20. But while I'm doing this, for you, have you been able to draw any parallels between ghosts and other type of creatures or critters that, apparently lurk in the area?
No. Like that would be absolutely comparing apples to oranges. There will. I do want to go back to these little places that are, not investigated enough. There's right down the back roads from my house. There's this old Oddfellows building here in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, that I think one team has ever investigated, and they're normally a Bigfoot research group. It's in Paragon, Indiana, and I want to buy that building so bad just so I can investigate it just whenever I want to. But so many buildings in these itty bitty teeny little towns that nobody even knows exists. The old Victorian home that's been put on the historical list, and it's haunted on the inside, but nobody's ever investigated it. So yeah, sorry I didn't answer your question.
No,
at
that's
all.
all right. That's
it's
all right.
It's getting late here, man.
Winthrop, I believe it's Winthrop, Washington State.
Oh, good.
Yes, I believe that's it. We only have 2.5 minutes with you tonight.
Okay.
We are almost done, and I know you're getting sleepy and everything, but I appreciate you taking the time to come on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. I thought you've done absolutely amazing with us and breaking it all down. What's your message to people who have an interest in the paranormal? What do you like to tell people?
Do what feels right. Do what feels right for you. I don't want to say don't watch the shows on TV, because you should, because you learn about some cool equipment that way. And I learn a lot of what not to do that way. I learned about the Estes method from watching Kindred Spirits, where you put the headphones on and you listen to the spirit box. I've had some amazing evidence through that. So watch them and just find out what's right for you. You know who you are. You're not Zach Baggins. You're not Steve Gonzalez. You're not Adam Barrier, Amy Bruni. Be you and be the best you can. And I think it will come across when you're in an investigation, and the spirits will figure out that you're being genuine, and that's when you're going to get the evidence that you seek.
Perfectly said. With about a minute to go, do us a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your book and your YouTube channel and everything else you're doing.
Awesome. You can actually go to one spot, and I've got it all right there. You go to flow.page/Kitsie Duncan. It's got my social media. I'm on the Twitter, the Instagram, Facebook. It's all on there. And there's a link to buy the book on Amazon. It's called I'd Rather Talk to Dead People. We've got the new show that just came out at the beginning of the year. It's called Paranormal X Road, and it's just paranormalxroad.com. It's a kinder, gentler kind of ghost show where myself and my friends are actually helping people that are living with a haunting.
You have a very interesting and fun life, and I hope we did enough for you to want to come on back on Spaced Out Radio
please.
again, because I had a lot of fun getting to know you tonight with our audience, and I think we're a little bit better off in hearing Kitsie Duncan's story, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm just a hippie chick who likes to find spirits.
Hey, when in doubt, that's what works for you. That's what works. Thank you, Kitsie Duncan, so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. We really appreciate you taking the time for our audience. Coming up next, we got the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good job, Kitsie Duncan.
Thank you.
Good
so
job,
much. I
right
hope
there.
I didn't get too
No, you were
out there at
fantastic.
the end.
You were fantastic. We like some woo around here. You brought some, which is always nice.
I love the woo-woo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I want to say thank you, and thanks for your follow on social media. I've followed back, and, because that's always so important for us as we all grow. But I'll let you get to bed, and thank you so much for coming on over and hanging out with us, because we're good people around here. We don't smell.
You are good people.
We don't smell.
You're my favorite.
Oh, you have lots of favorites.
I do, but you're one of them.
We moved up the ladder quick. That's cool. Thank you. I appreciate you and your time that you took for us. That means a lot.
Awesome. And let's do this again soon. Have a good night.
All right. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I like her. Good energy. Good juju there. Probably need one more story here. I think I did that one. Yeah. We'll go with that one right there. Shirky Poo would like it if we did this one. How many Jens do we have? There's only 2 Jens. There's Jen and Jennifer. There's only 2. Oh, and there's Jenna as well. That's 3. Oh, my goodness. Thanks, Grandmaster. Appreciate that. We've got a couple of minutes left. It's a hat trick, to use a hockey term, a hat trick of Jens. A hat trick. Oh. Thank you, by the way, to gorgeous Teresa, Dr. Marty, and the lovely Wagon Breath for the amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the love and support. Really do. I did not hear about the vandalism at American Stonehenge. Fabster makes it 4 Jens now. Teresa, are you changing your name to Jen? How about you? Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. I gotta stretch. The Desert Clam. What's happening, buddy? We got 1 minute. Hey, thanks, Rich Hilke. $15 seconds. 2 more thumbs up. Or 3, actually. 3. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking us and listening to us tonight. We really do appreciate that. We want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do it. Let's do this thing right now. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes, oh, wow, just the plain on odd. This is really, really odd. All right? Talk about a relationship with a lot of ups and downs. I don't really buy this one. There may be some psychological problems here, but we're going to run with this anyways. Gail Engel claims that she has been in a long-term sexual relationship with many inanimate objects, but her true passion, her true love, is for a German roller coaster. You could say that I am sexually drawn to roller coasters, but since I met the Skyscream roller coaster, I understood what love was, said the France-born Engel. Yes, she has the attraction to the ride at Germany's holiday park because it throws her all over the place. I spend every moment dreaming of a carnal and fusional relationship with it. The 43-year-old says she has been sexually attracted to objects since she was 12. The painter and poet has had 3 serious romantic human relationships, but found them to all be traumatic. I will not philosophize on these relationships that ruined my life, but it was only suffering, physical and moral, she said. The men I dated had a lot of issues with alcohol, and it was a very hard time for me. Her new beau, however, has no substance problems and makes her feel empowered to be herself. With Skyscream, the roller coaster, by the way, I feel completely confident. Dating the coaster does have its drawbacks. However, the couple are unable to have any sexual relationship whatsoever, and meeting up is difficult. But life made me understand that sex was not a priority in my relationship, especially following the difficulties and trials we encountered in not being able to see each other. As an alternative to in-person dates, Engel collects objects that represent Skyscream to her, including a board of Skyscream photos, an array of objects brought from the theme park, and a pillow that has the roller coaster's images printed on it. This is the one that Engel hugs daily. Through the objects collected as a representation of Skyscream, Engel feels connected to him. The love follows me everywhere, she says. How romantic. Skyscream, by the way, and her adoration for him frequently manifest in her work. Skyscream inspires me a lot in everything I write and draw, she says. Through the model she has created of him and other coasters, she feels that the two have reproduced. There are even some models that I have made that are totally new inventions, so you could say that I have Skyscream kids. Engel is not alone in her unusual taste of lovers. In 2017, Carol Santa Fe, a self-identified objectum sexual, yes, you heard that right, objectum sexual, claims she had been in love with San Diego's historic Santa Fe train depot since the age of 9. This can't be healthy. This can't be healthy. I've heard of this stuff before, but this is just, it can't be healthy. You can't love an inanimate object. Well, you can love it, but I'm not even going to get started. Pull my beautiful hair out. That's what I will do. I'll pull my beautiful hair out. A Texas porch pirate was in such a rush to snatch a package that her top slid off during the brazen daylight heist, and it was caught on a doorbell security camera. Yes, the woman can be seen running barefoot up to the porch of a Houston home and swiping a box containing a dress from Nordstrom. During the theft, though, the woman's shirt slips off, which was all captured by the homeowner's Ring doorbell camera. She clearly was having a wardrobe malfunction on the way up, Harris County Precinct 1 Constable Alan Rosen says. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. The woman, as of Thursday, remained at large, but Rosen says that the department now has a few new leads. We've got some suspects in mind. We got a pretty clear look at the vehicle and of the person, he said to the outlet. But could you imagine, all of a sudden you're going to rob a place and your boobies fall out? That would be terrible. That would be terrible. I don't even know how you continue with that. How do you're an unsuccessful criminal when you go to rob a place and your clothes fall off? Let's just be honest there. An asteroid, similar in size to the Golden Gate Bridge, will whip past Earth later this month, the largest and fastest asteroid to pass close to our planet this year. I think I'm in love with its speed. I am an objectum sexual. But don't worry, it won't get too close. The asteroid, officially known by NASA as 231-937, is about 1,300 to 2,230 feet wide, according to observations made by the NEOWISE team. Putting it at a smaller end of the scale, it has an orbit period of 810 days. The asteroid is smaller than the last notable one to make a close approach to Earth, but it will be 3 times closer, NASA stated. 2001 FO32 is set to come within 1.25 million miles of Earth at 11:02 a.m. Eastern Time on March 21st, just one day after the spring equinox. That's close enough for NASA to clarify and classify its potentially hazardous in its database of near-Earth asteroids, a designation given when they come within about 4.65 million miles from Earth and are larger than 500 feet in diameter. It will zoom past at almost 77,000 miles per hour or 21 miles per second, piquing scientists' interest as one of the fastest space rocks known to fly past Earth. This asteroid is unusually speedy due to its highly inclined and elongated orbit around the Sun, which takes it closer to the Sun than Mercury and twice as far from the Sun as Mars. This is the closest predicted approach in 2021 for any moderately large asteroid, where moderately large means at least several hundred meters in size. Paul Chodas, the director of the Center for Near-Death Object Studies, however, it poses no risk of impact, and scientists know that its path is very accurate, having studied it for about 2 decades. We are safe from another one. We are safe from the death shot once again. At a recent meeting about NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, engineers voiced their concern about pirates. No, we're unfortunately not talking about space pirates. They're worried about plain old sea-based pirates instead. This makes no sense to me. The massive space telescope, featuring a 21-foot mirror and a tennis court-sized projective cage, is far too large to stick inside of a plane. Instead, NASA will have to ship the massive mirror right through the Panama Canal for its eventual launch in the French Guiana, and NASA is worried that the journey could attract robbers. Oh, I see where we're going with this. The shipping time and location will be hush-hush to ward off any extremely ambitious thieves. All we know is that it will sail off in late summer. Why would you announce that you're going to be shipping on a certain day something that is worth over $10 billion? Meeting attendee Christopher Colasus, an astrophysicist at the University of Manchester, stated that you could easily put on a boat. It's an especially harrowing sea passage for a project that has been going on for over 2 decades. NASA has poured almost $10 billion into the project over that time period. It would be quite the booty for any pirate willing to risk their lives. The telescope's honeycomb-shaped mirrors are lined with gold. Surprisingly, it wouldn't be the first heist of its kind. In 1984, a steel structure for the James Clerk Maxwell telescope was kidnapped by its cargo vessel's commercial captain. As the captain later asked for a ransom, but was instead arrested at gunpoint at customs. Oh, wow. That would be expensive. Let's stick with science here. They are pulling inspiration from Noah's Ark in a new lunar proposal that they call a global insurance policy. They hope to send an ark to the moon filled with 335 million sperm and egg samples in case a catastrophe happens on Earth. Instead of 2 of every animal, the solar-powered moon ark would cryogenically store frozen seed, spore, sperm, and egg samples from some 6.7 million Earth species. University of Arizona researcher Jakan Thanga and a group of his students proposed the concept in a paper presented during the IEEE Aerospace Conference this week. Earth is naturally a volatile environment. Thanga, a professor of aerospace and mechanical engineering at the University of Arizona College of Engineering, said, "As humans, we had a close call about 75,000 years ago with the Toba supervolcanic eruption, which caused a 1,000-year cooling period, and according to some, aligns with an estimated drop in human diversity. Because human civilization has such a large footprint, if it were to collapse, that could have a negative cascading effect on the rest of the planet." Thanga highlighted climate change as a main concern, especially as it contributes to rising sea levels. A deadly global pandemic and a large-scale nuclear war are 2 other major possibilities that doomsday clock researchers cite for catastrophic disasters. In Norway, at the Svalbard Seed Bank, also known as the Doomsday Vault, currently holds hundreds of thousands of seed samples to ensure continued biodiversity on Earth. But Thanga's team believes storing such precious samples on our own planet is a bit too risky. Luckily, the moon, located just 238,855 miles away, has none of these issues. Establishing the ark would involve sending the 6.7 million samples to the moon in multiple payloads, then storing them in a vault beneath the surface where they would be safe. The idea is to store the ark within a network of lava tubes, about 200 of which were discovered beneath the moon's surface in 2013. They formed billions of years ago when underground lava streams formed massive caverns more than 300 feet in diameter. These tubes have remained untouched for 3 to 4 billion years, and scientists suggest they could provide much-needed protection from solar radiation, meteors, or temperature changes on the surface. Let us continue on here, shall we? Police say an itsy-bitsy intruder inside a vehicle caused a scramble on the weekend in Surrey, British Columbia. It also led concerned members of the public to call police about the possibility of a woman in distress, although the Mounties say it turned out that a spider was behind the reports of a suspicious circumstance. The RCMP say they received the calls that Saturday afternoon about a woman traveling in a sport utility vehicle. Members of the public said that she had opened the door of the SUV while it was still moving, but police determined she was trying to shoo the spider out of the vehicle. In a news release, police said they tracked down the man and woman in the vehicle and confirmed there was no criminal activity. The Mounties say they hadn't intended to cause alarm. The incident was, in fact, caused by a spider, the RCMP said. The spider made a surprise appearance in the car, causing a bit of a scramble and led to the woman to cry out for help. Spiders will do that every time. You're just going to have to blow up the car. A 32-year-old Virginia woman now faces up to 16 years in prison after recording a video of herself laughing and sexually abusing her boyfriend as he lay dying from a heroin overdose. Oh, isn't this pretty? Yeah, Megan Ann Walthall obviously needed psychological help, was ordered to serve time in Stafford County Circuit Court after prosecutors said she waited 45 minutes to call 911 and report her partner, Brandon Dye, was unresponsive in July 2019. After the delay, Dye was eventually taken to Mary Washington Hospital where he died. Walthall's lawyer said she was also high at the time and was making the video to show Dye later as motivation to quit using drugs. It was done stupidly and wrongly, but there was no malice, defense attorney Price Koch said. But the prosecutor said the delay in calling for help was inexcusable. Aside from the video, police also found drugs and other paraphernalia in the Stafford home. Walthall previously pleaded guilty to charges of abusing an incapacitated adult, sexual battery, and 2 counts of possessing illegal drugs. The second drug possession charge came after a December 2019 incident in which she gave a man drugs, which he then overdosed. So this is a nice girl. Nice girl. The kind you want to bring home to mom and dad. Definitely. Definitely. Continuing on, I'll tell you, this story is all about bravery and shows the real strength of, I think, one of the most beautiful animals in North America, if not the world, the bald eagle. A wildlife camera in California captured footage of a dedicated bald eagle mother keeping her eggs warm while being covered in snow. The Big Bear Bald Eagle Nest Cam, set up by Friends of Big Bear Valley Group, captured the video of a bald eagle named Jackie being covered in 3 to 4 inches of fresh snow while tending to her eggs in her nest. Jackie and her mate Shadow have been protecting the nest since their 2 eggs were laid February 9th and February 11th. The Friends of the Big Bear Valley said the eggs could begin to hatch soon as March 15th. God bless those eagles. God, I love them. Aren't they just gorgeous? We got a lot of them up here around where I live, and I just love watching them. An airliner worker at an Arkansas airport did something absolutely magical. Reunited a lost Buzz Lightyear toy with the young boy who accidentally left the action figure behind in Texas. Southwest Airlines said the boy named Hagen had gotten off the plane at Dallas Love Field Airport, and his family already was in its rental car heading away from the airport when the child realized his Buzz Lightyear toy was missing. The toy was left on the plane where a Southwest ramp agent named Jason found it after landing in Little Rock, Arkansas. Jason found Hagen's name written on the bottom of the toy's foot, and a co-worker helped him find the plane's passenger list from earlier in the day to identify Buzz's owner. Buzz arrived in the mail at Hagen's home a few days later. That is so kind. Way so kind. And in a package that also included photos of Buzz posing at the Arkansas airport and a letter detailing his adventures. There's definitely not enough good in this world, and for someone to take the time out of their day to do that for strangers means the world to us, Hagen's mother Ashley stated. And of course, that should be stated, that this is a type of story that makes us all feel good, and a boy reunites with his favorite toy. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Be funny. Tell me who you are going to haunt and why after you die. Barther. Nobody I know or know will outlive me. Phenomenomia, or whatever his name is, Phenomenofia. I'm going to haunt you, Dave, for being a New York Yankees fan. Thank you. 13 ballads. College kids during their exams. Since college kids love going to graveyards and torturing ghosts, it's time ghosts got payback by haunting those exam rooms. Sonia, the royal family and all the MPs, because I can't stand them. Ronnie, I'm also going to haunt you, Dave, until you eat breakfast for dinner. Oh, Ronnie, that's not nice. That's not nice. AC, the neighbors on my floor who can't shut the door without slamming it. It's clobbering time. Julie, I'd haunt you, Dave. Really? Is anybody seeing a pattern here? I'd haunt you, Dave. You know it's me because I will be caressing your beard hairs and running my ethereal fingers through your luscious mane. Call it unfinished business. Oh, my. I think there may be a hidden message there. Wow. I'm a little sweaty right now. Ooh. Anyways, moving on. Hey, Merle just messaged me. Hey, Merle, happy birthday to you, buddy. Happy frickin' birthday. All right, moving on. Kimberly, I got a few people who ruined my connection with my twin flame. I'll haunt him too, not joking, and probably haunt a few people who rejected my friendship, ex-friends from real life, as well as people from Facebook who are very judgmental and unfriended me for unknown reasons. Lori, not one, not worth sweat off my ghost ass, better things to see and learn. June, I plan to haunt Chris Hemsworth's shower for a while, then I might move on to his home gym. Oh my, June, is there a little crush there? We got a little crushy poo on Chris Hemsworth? Stephen, the Rothschilds and the Clintons for obvious reasons. Olive, I'm going to haunt you, Dave, again, so I can mess with you during the show. Richard, first I'm going to check in with James Randi to see if he's learned anything new, then haunt the lead journalist for Skeptical Inquirer. It'll be fun times. Double Bobby, if I died right now, I would go flick Prince Harry's ears for being such a wimp, make him scream like a schoolgirl. Tim, two of my former co-workers because they know what they did. Bobby, I have a long list. Scott, you, Dave, with my souvenir 2021 Blue Jays World Series ring. Scott, you definitely live in a dreamland if you think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to win the World Series. Chris, I'm going to haunt her, as in Kitsie Duncan. Self-explanatory, he says. Melinda, I'm going to haunt you, Dave, because that would be funny. Thank you, Melinda. Love you too. Danny, my wife, because she snores and keeps me up. No peace for her. Finally, Mike gets the final word. The Spaced Out Radio chat people, I'll just scream, Woo Train, and whisper, we own the night. Thank you to everybody taking part in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again next time on Twitter and Facebook, so make sure you check it on out for that. Thank you to Captain Shirk for an amazing SOR Newswire, and Kitsie Duncan for coming on in, staying up late on the East Coast to join us for a great show on the paranormal and ghost. You know, she's one of the good ones. I really do believe that. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake, we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.